got 25 minutes. We got to go.
Hey.
What?
It's Wednesday. We haven't seen you guys in so long. How's everybody doing? Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday, guys.
Day. There it is, Jeannie. You know the deal. Well, we're really excited to be back. We took the month of February off, and so we're excited to be back with everyone. Now, if this is your first time ever with us here on Say That channel, we just want to say welcome. We are all about the ugly come up of entrepreneurship and small business ownership. We've all heard those stories about people who start from nothing and then have massive success. But what happens in the middle? What happens during the ugly come up? Well, that's what we're here to talk about, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. Winston and I have 25 minutes to talk about a topic of the day. And when we're really lucky, we also bring on guests, other folks who are in the trenches with us. And so that way we can learn from each other as we are all trying to build our businesses.
Absolutely. And one of my favorite things about March is our... That's right, folks. It is March Madness. Get your brackets out there. But guys, no, not only do we love what it is that we get to do, but we love March because we specifically get to zone in and talk about the industry of network marketing or multi-level marketing. So let's jump into today's topic and see who we got.
All right. Could your business be losing money because you don't have legal counsel?
That's a great question. We know some people out there right now who's going through some legal issues, right?
Right? You might need some help, right?
Exactly.
Well, I'm excited because it is not just me and Winston. We are going to start this month off with a bang. We have our first guest of the month with us, who is, I can't think of a better person to answer today's question.
Say that.
He is a husband, a father. He's a retired captain is what I was thinking, because he was in the Air Force, which is pretty awesome. I don't know how many people know captains out there, like who actually like flew planes. Let's see. He's also a retired engineer and someone who loves to help people by helping them with the little details of things, because he knows who to point you to get you to answer those questions that are really needed. So I'm really excited to bring to the show Dan Hickox.
Our next guest.
There he is.
There he is.
Hey, greetings, everybody.
Happy to have you with us, Dan.
My pleasure.
Welcome in.
So we are really excited to get into the topic. But before we get into that, for those people who have never met you before, tell us a little bit about how you got into network marketing and even more specifically, Legal Shield.
So, great question. Honestly, I was not looking for a job. I wasn't looking for anything else. As you mentioned in the intro, I'm a retired Air Force officer, C-130 pilot, did a lot of things on behalf of our country. Retired, moved on to be a senior Boeing systems engineer. Toughed that out for 15 years, and I thought, okay, life is good. Time to sail off in the sunset and reap all the benefits that everybody seems to be working for. And then I was introduced to Legal Shield, and I thought, wow, this is freaking amazing. But it's been around for how many years, and I've never heard of it? Nah. But wait, seriously? You can do all those things? And for pennies on the dollar? Let me think about this. I did my due diligence, signed up, and within 6 months, we had saved over $900. Not too shabby for a service that only costs about $1 a day. I was hooked, and I've been talking about it ever since.
I love that story, especially the part where it's like, oh, and I've been sharing my story ever since. Because once you love something, right, whether it's a service or a product, you can't help but to tell other people about it, right?
Exactly.
Well, since today's question, I just feel like, again, you're going to be the best person to get excuse me, you're going to be the best person to answer this question. Let's just get right into it. Could your business be losing money because you don't have legal counsel? Tell us, what have you seen out there for people who are entrepreneurs, small business owners? What should they know?
Well, let's face it, as an entrepreneur, actually as a human being, we don't know what we don't know. And a lot of folks, business owners included, they know that one thing that they're convinced is going to make them wealthy, powerful, whatever it is that they got them into the business. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't make them an authority on the law. And like it or not, we operate in a legal environment, which impacts everybody. And if you don't believe that, wait until you have a car accident or a family member dies. Yeah, those are legal situations. We don't necessarily think of it that way. And let's face it, in the United States in particular, is the legal system broken? I would argue no, but the issue is, can you afford it? Mm-hmm. And after all, typically most people don't know who to call, don't know who they can afford, certainly don't know who they can trust. So, you feel like you're screwed to begin with, and that's why most people don't even think about getting legal consultation. So, focusing on business owners, from our experience with our provider law firms, I can tell you that the three most popular reasons that small business owners call our law firm or any law firm: debt collection letters, contract reviews, business legal advice. That's a clue. If you don't have those things, you're probably losing money. And even if you're not losing money, think of the emotional toil or toll that you're experiencing with those unanswered questions. Gosh, I wonder, should I, could I, what can I do moments. So those are some examples, and I can elaborate if you like.
Yeah, please.
Yes.
Okay.
Give us one example. I love the what can I do?
Sure. So one of the first one-to-ones that I ever had, talking to a young lady, she operates a security business. And we've been networking for a while, so she knew what I did. And then she calls me one night. I was actually traveling, and she said, "So Dan, does your Legal Shield law firm write demand letters or debt collection letters? I'm about to eat a $20,000 chargeback, and I got to get my client's attention, or else it's going to be pretty ugly." And I said, "Yeah, we've got a good track record with that." I walked her through how the membership works. It is a subscription service. Small monthly fee. She signed her company up, and within a week, the next time we were together in our networking, she said, "Yeah, I have a shout out for Dan. He, through his Legal Shield business, just saved me $20,000 in chargebacks." Okay, that's a win. It's a huge win for her.
Yeah.
A much smaller win for me, but it's all good.
Right.
So just for some clarity, and we have a lot of people who are brand new to being entrepreneurs or being a business owner. What is a chargeback, and what was it that your company was able to do to help that woman avoid that?
Sure. So chargebacks look differently depending on the kind of business you have. It's basically you've been paid ahead of time, or in this case, that person had equipment that was owned by the company and wasn't being returned. And so the company, the parent company, if you will, was going to charge my entrepreneur friend the cost of that equipment.
Because the customer was holding on to it.
Right.
Okay.
And, what do you do to get people's attention these days?
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, a powerful letter from a powerful law firm typically will do that. you and I can write letters, we can make phone calls. We're smart people. You know, we know what we know, and we can articulate that pretty well. But in my friend's case, multiple letters and phone calls, nothing happened. Powerful letter from the law firm. She cut the check, okay, or returned the the equipment. And my friend said, "Oh, you didn't have to do that." Well, yes, I did, because for 6 months you've been sitting on it. So, hello.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Now, from a legal side, the law firm wrote a debt collection letter, and that's one of the popular things. So many businesses all businesses run on cash flow. If you don't have access to cash, you could be screwed. Whether it's making payroll, taking care of the next client, you need it to run your business. Well, what if you've just done put in a pool, or some large project, and they won't pay you? How do you get their attention? You're just another guy out there trying to earn his keep.
Yeah.
And yet, when a powerful law firm with lots of partner attorneys on the letterhead writes you a letter, most people think, "Oh crap, I'm about to be sued." Well, maybe you are, maybe you're not, but that's okay as long as they pony up what they owe you.
Okay.
I've definitely, full disclosure, I'll be really vulnerable here, in that, yes, in my lifetime, I have received letters from law firms. And I'm like, oh, what does this mean? What's going on?
Sure.
And so I can for sure relate to that feeling of like, I don't know what it is, but I'm going to try and figure it out. You definitely have my full and complete attention. I want to handle whatever this is. So that makes a lot of sense to me, as to like, if you're a business owner and you don't know how to get your customer or clients' attention to make sure that this gets handled, this is a huge advantage to be able to have access to a legal team that can do that.
Sure. And consider, as a business owner, what if you get some threatening letter? Maybe you're being served with a lawsuit, or maybe you're being threatened in any form or fashion. Wouldn't it be nice to be able to call your law firm and say, "Hey, coach, this is what's going down. What should I do? What advice do you have for me?" And the beauty of our membership is there's no charge for the demand letter. There's no charge for the advice.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome.
Now, it's a monthly membership fee. And if you exceed the quota of letters or contract reviews, sure, then they'll ask you to, kick in some money. But, as a business owner, it's always about reward versus risk.
Yeah. Yeah. So to that point, and I wanted to ask, you mentioned this service, and I'm thinking maybe there are many people out there who, and I want to say assume, but I'd figure many businesses go for long periods of time where they may not get into, whether it's large amounts of debt where they need to proceed to getting a lawyer to, to go out there and get the money back. What are some of the services you guys provide that you think businesses may need for maybe more daily or regular use that they actually don't have? And to the question's point, they're actually literally maybe letting money walk out the door because they don't have maybe one of the services that you guys provide.
Sure. So imagine you have a brick and mortar.
Okay.
Oh, it's time to renew the lease. That's a legal document. Think you should review that? Or what's your landlord doing or not doing that you disagree with? Would it be nice to have the advice that says, no, that may be their policy, but legally they can't do that to you? Oh, good to know. Just saying. Or it's here in Texas, it's already in the 80s. And it's just March. Wait until the summer when it's 110 outside. and the air conditioner craps out on you. Oh, well, whose responsibility is it to fix it? What does the lease say? What are your legal rights? Well, Mr. Business Owner, we can help you with that. You know, if you ever get stuck, if you ever go crosswise with your landlord. So those are a couple examples. And then, yeah, there's other issues too. What if some kid throws a rock through the window? Well, then what? Do you call the police? Do you call your attorney to find out what's going on?
Yeah.
You know, do you run outside, chase them down, and beat the hell out of them? Probably not wise.
Yeah, we need a lawyer then.
Yeah, for sure, right? You know, or hey, this is Texas. What if you've posted a sign that says no firearms are permitted on the premises, and somebody comes strolling in, open carry? Yeah, that's making me feel uncomfortable. Well, okay, it may be an open carry state, but are there exceptions? There's another example, maybe not as prevalent.
Yeah.
But, you know, stuff happens. Now, let's get, shall we say, more real. You have employees, 1099s, W-2s. Certainly W-2s are more legal responsibilities. Hey, I want to fire this yahoo. What should I do to preclude a lawsuit? Or what happens if a customer slips and falls on the steps leading up to your brick and mortar? Or one of your kids, I'll just say, one of your employees, you know, you hand them a $20 bill and say, hey, go out and get lunch for us. And he's in a car accident and injured. Are you liable for that? I don't know. I'm not an attorney. Sure be nice to get that authoritative attorney on your side to find out the right answer to that. And again, peace of mind, if nothing else.
Great point.
I really love those examples. And what they keep, as you give one after another, I'm just like the authority bit, having someone that you can trust,
right,
to be able to give all of this is what keeps coming up for me. How do you know that these are reputable law firms? That makes sense.
Lawyers,
yeah. So Legal Shield, the company, has been around since 1972. And our mission is to help ensure that everyone in North America has the liberty, justice, and opportunity that we all deserve and expect. Now, in those 50 plus years, we've learned how to earn over $500 million in revenue, no debt. With that kind of wherewithal, we get to hire the best law firms in North America. So we choose the law firms that we're working with. And in every case, we have a law firm in every state, every province, and territory of Canada. And in every instance, we, Legal Shield, write the biggest checks to those law firms. So as a client, when you call, that law firm knows you keep the lights on to that law firm.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so now instead of thinking about how to charge you, because let's face it, an attorney's time is incredibly expensive. And most of the time, it's not worth the attorney's time to help your niggling little, oh, geez, can't you read the lease moment?
Yeah.
But with our law firm, they're already paid. So now they're motivated to help you, to keep you happy, to resolve your legal issue as quickly as possible and in your favor. Of course, the caveat is it's what the law permits, not necessarily what we'd like to have.
Right.
Very true. I love that bit because I was actually wondering about, you mentioned that you're in Texas and I'm like, oh, if I'm a business owner in New York, how is this applicable to me? So I love that they've actually gone ahead, and you said they're in every state?
Yes. The other thing too is, a lot of businesses operate across state lines.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about like bootlegging tobacco. But seriously though, there's a lot of online enterprises that sell stuff throughout the United States. I mean, heck, we all do that. Well, what if you're like a mom and pop online retail store. And true example, you're in Texas, you've irritated somebody in California, and the product was manufactured in New York. Oh crap, what to do? Well, you're a resident of Texas, you call the Texas law firm, you tell them, pour out your heart and soul. The attorney that you need is going to call you back and tell you what your options are. And maybe it's, well, let's talk to New York, or let's talk to California, because every state has their nuances, their specific laws and so forth, which is why you need an attorney that practices in that particular state to get any restitution or whatever it is the issue is.
That's really good. Really quickly, I just want to share if there is anyone who has any questions, please, this is like a great time to put them in the chat.
No, seriously. Yeah,
we can get the answers right away. And certainly if you're watching this on the replay, go ahead and put your questions in the chat. We will get them to Dan. Don't you worry. So that way you can get your questions answered. But I'm so glad that we got to this part, because actually this is when I think a lot of light bulbs come on, like, oh, this is what's possible. This is actually really helpful.
Here's another example that folks may or may not be aware of. The Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA, compliance with that law is a big deal. And if you're not in compliance, it's easy to get sued. In some places, there are attorneys, not the kind of attorneys we like to deal with, who actually go gunning for entrepreneurs who are not compliant. Oh, your ramp isn't the right angle. Oh, you don't have a ramp. Well, I just make pies in my kitchen and then I drive and take them. Well, technically, you're not ADA compliant and we're going to sue the socks off of you. Really? Does that happen? Well, sadly, it does. So, and I understand, although I'm not an authority, websites have to be ADA compliant. And I have no idea how that works. But might be a question to ask your business attorney.
No, see, that makes a lot of sense, because these are some of the little, I don't want to call them loopholes, but little missing things that do cost businesses.
Sure.
There's a show I watch, and the gentleman helps rescue bars. And it's funny that some of the things are egregious, this is dirty, this is broken. But some of the other things is little things that he's able to find and point out that businesses literally are letting money walk out the door over. And so what you're sharing, Dan, is spot on.
Something to keep in mind too, especially for your listeners, the advice is free. That phone call is free. There's no charge. So why not call whenever you have a question? Think your rights have been trampled on, think you've been treated unfairly, just have a question. You can deal with the small things before they become big things. Hey, when your employees just walked out on a huff, oh crap. Well, he's kind of a loose cannon. You could call and just ask, hey, this just happened. What do I need to do? The advice might be, well, document exactly what happened and keep book on them. And over time, well, call me back. And if it gets worse, then we can talk about next steps. Okay. You just don't know. Talking with the attorneys, they always want to have as much time as they can have to get the issue resolved.
Yeah, makes sense.
So one of the things I was thinking on a very personal level is contracts. So a lot of I'm actually a partner in several different businesses, and one of them, we hire coaches to do work, and we create contracts with each one of those coaches. Is that something that the lawyers within Legal Shield would do? Is that a part of the free services? Is that or no? I don't know.
So a couple things. We do not draft from a blank piece of paper a contract. Okay. I mean, you could ask, and for a fee, sure, they would do that in most cases. But more practically, gee, it's not their first rodeo. Odds are they've handled something like this before. There's probably a template out there that you could fill out, Mr. or Ms. Business Owner. They can then review that. A lot of times, business owners have been using a contract. Well, when was the last time you had an attorney review it? You know, it might have been compliant with the law 10 years ago, maybe not so much today. So why not check it out? So that's an example.
That's really helpful. Yeah. So they'll help you review it. That's great.
So
Sure.
I actually want to jump into more of the MLM side of this, but I know we're running long on time. So,
well, what's your question?
Well, I was actually going to say if we could share with people where they could connect with Dan first, and then I'll throw my question out there. So Dan, I know this is your website, all right?
Correct. Yep.
And I know we have your Gmail for people who want to reach out to you guys. Make sure you guys are taking this, and then we'll put it in the description of the video. And then for anyone who's looking to connect with you on social media, your LinkedIn. All right.
He's a real person. He will respond.
Fair enough.
Our disclaimer to you.
Yeah. I like to say we're here to help.
Yeah.
There we go. I love it.
That's clear. By all the examples you've given, that's very clear.
No, absolutely. So to that, oh, perfect. Okay, good. All right, so I will ask my question, but we're actually going to take it to overtime, but we just want you guys to be here. So the side of this for me is somebody who's been in, network marketing for a period of time and actually been in multiple network marketing companies. I wanted to know, you mentioned earlier in the beginning, not looking for anything. Like you weren't really in a place where you were looking for something in your life. So if you were in that retired essentially stage, what made you not just become a customer of this because you recognize the value? What made you want to go out and share this with other people? Because that's the biggest thing for me in terms of, I get why people support network marketing businesses and companies. So, it makes a lot of sense costs wise. It just, obviously, I think many of them who are reputable, it makes sense. But to go out and share the good news isn't something everybody, typically starts to do. So in overtime, I look at him, he's chomping at the bits to tell you guys. In overtime, Dan is going to share with us what made him decide to, get back out there and share the good news of this amazing company.
Great question.
All right, perfect. All right, so make sure you guys, the link is in the description. So get to our Patreon. For everybody who's already a Patreon community member, we'll see you guys in a couple minutes. For everybody else, as always, remember, you deserve the good life. Say that.
Say that.
Amen, brothers and sisters.